Hey educators, are you trying to learn EYLF 2.0 or the updated version of the EYLF? You don't have to wait no more. This is a video series on the EYLF from Storykate channel. Buckle up and get ready to learn. Today we are going to learn about EYLF principles. So there are new principles in the EYLF. It used to be 5 of them. Now we can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can read about EYLF principles on the original document on pages 14 to 19. And you will find a lot of information, additional information that can enhance your learning. This new EYLF booklet is amazing. It's got a lot of pictures and the concepts are explained quite well. But today I wanted to provide you with my overview of EYLF principles, that is introducing any new educator to the EYLF in a brief way that is not overwhelming. Since EYLF was introduced in 2009, the principles were guiding educators' practice in a way as Code of Ethics guides our ethical decision making. So EYLF principles are usually big ideas about teaching, learning, and early childhood pedagogy. The current 8 principles reflect contemporary theories, perspectives, and research evidence concerning children's learning and early childhood pedagogy. These principles underpin practices, and we will make a video about practices as well, that is focused on assisting all children to make progress in relation to their learning outcomes. This is a quote from this document that I was showing you before, EYLF. Yes, so you can always find the EYLF on a CEQA website. It's called Belonging, Being, Becoming, and it's published in 2022. Educators consider principles in everyday practice, right? So we consider principles when we think about children's learning, when we interact with families, when we set up play spaces. But most importantly, when we are on the floor, when we do observations, when we change nappies, when we wash hands or serve meals. So there are really big ideas that are ethical ideas. Yes, so they are based on values and they really should guide us throughout the day. So there are 8 principles, as I was saying. Let's tick those boxes. So number 1 is build secure, respectful, reciprocal relationships. Number 2 is about partnerships with families, with communities, and allied professionals. Number 3, respect for diversity. Early childhood professionals should be respectful towards families, respectful of community members, and respectful of children's backgrounds. We also kind of vouch to embed Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives, and EYLF incorporates it a lot. We commit to equity, inclusion, and high expectations. We consider sustainability in all its forms, and it inspires us to set up play spaces that are sustainable and to ensure that our teaching is sustainable too. We engage in critical reflection and ongoing professional learning, and we exercise collaborative leadership and work as a team. The first principle of the Early Years Learning Framework, version 2, is secure, respectful, reciprocal relationships. I remember at university when we were covering relationships with children, we also used this phrase because EYLF was introduced in 2009, and I completed my university degree in 2010, a second degree. So we talked about respectful relationships, and a lot of students asked what are reciprocal relationships. So reciprocate, and when you return or give back, right? So, and this has a lot to do with neuroscience of child's brain and learning. So as educators, we need to ensure that we build these secure relationships with children, and we also reciprocate the interactions, and we support so-called to and fro interactions, or serve and return. You can learn more about serve and return if you Google it, but it is really a foundational principle of relationships with youngest children from 0 to 3. Educators who are in tuned to children's thoughts, feelings, support their learning, and provide a secure base from which to explore. For example, if you work in the youngest age group, children usually cling to you, and they build this connection, or something that we call attachment. So this principle is all about positive, caring, respectful relationships that are consistent and provide child with secure base or attachment. Emotional support is also important for all age groups, of course, because this type of support is playing a huge role in building architecture of the brain. It is a foundational principle of development. We do provide children with security, safety, respect, so they can feel safe and later in life valued. No wonder that the second important principle of the EYLF 2.0 is partnerships. It used to be partnerships with families in EYLF version 1. Now it is extended. So we include in partnerships families, communities, and other professionals. Basically, we accept social cultural theory underlining our practice. If you remember, Storykate loves Vygotsky and social cultural theory, and Yuri Bronfenbrenner as well, who developed this model of bioecological theory. So according to this approach of social cultural theories, child is part of culture or embedded in community. They are born into their family, they are born into their community. So these circles, as Bronfenbrenner called them, they influence child's life, development and learning. For example, some children are born as the only child and their parents are young. Some children are born as number 5 in their families, and they are supported by younger brothers and sisters. Some families might be merged together. Some children are raised by their grandparents. So we have very diverse family structure. So building partnerships with families and community is important to acknowledge child's culture and background, and also ensure that this transition into service is smooth and child is really supported. So we build these relationships through a lot of things, such as orientation, enrollment process, everyday communication, mutual respect, of course, and shared decision making. It's all reflected in the EYLF. As I go, I will be linking these principles to the theories and science, neuroscience usually, because it is important to understand why EYLF has all these principles. As you know, the EYLF was created by a lot of academics and people who work in early childhood education and care. So it is informed by evidence and research. It is based on the most important studies that were done in early childhood education and care, big projects such as Lifting Our Game and From Neurons to Neighborhoods. So all this important research informed EYLF. So it's one of the best EYLF approved learning frameworks in the world. And I think respect for diversity also confirms that, because it's a great principle. It encourages us to value diversity and diverse backgrounds of children and their families. So we don't follow one size fits all approach anymore. we are acknowledging diversity, right? So, and we accept that it contributes to richness of society, of the community, of the center, and the learning environment of our room. This principle involves recognizing, respecting cultural, linguistic, individual diversity, children's funds of knowledge or virtual backpacks that they bring to our service, whether it's family daycare, preschool, school, or kindergarten. So we ensure that children feel valued for who they are. For example, if they speak Hindu, we do accept it as their virtual backpack and their cultural background, and we see the ways how to add this to our program. An exciting new principle called Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander Perspectives. Next principle is an exciting new principle, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander Perspectives. It talks about how we should incorporate Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander perspectives not only through the special days like Child's Day or NAIDOC Week. We need to show commitment to reconciliation. It's essential to promote cultural awareness and respect by embedding and incorporating perspectives into our service curriculum. For example, we might integrate Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander cultures into our curriculum in a way that welcomes local knowledge. For example, acknowledgement of country, nature pedagogies, connection to the country can introduce children to local plants, to bush tucker. Also create this long-lasting focus on sustainability that is part of Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people's culture. Next principle is similar to what it was, it's just a little bit expanded. It's called equity, inclusion, and high expectations. You probably remember this principle if you have been teaching since 2009 as high expectations and equity. Educators have high expectations for all children, no matter of their background or their current developmental stage. So we ensure that all children experience success in learning and development. They will meet their milestones at different rate, but we are committed to equity and believe that all children are capable learners. Remember the vision of EYLF. So this principle actually mirrors the vision of the EYLF and commitment to supporting every child as confident and involved learner. Also links to EYLF not principle but outcome 4 on learning, which also talks about how children are capable and informed learners. So these principles, equity, inclusion, and high expectations, has a lot to do with critical theories. So I promise to incorporate theories into this workshop. So critical theories, they do challenge taken for granted practices. If you want to learn more, watch my video on Paulo Freire and Jürgen Habermas and critical theories and how they apply to us as early childhood educators. Critical theories focus on inclusive practices, and they also focus on addressing bias and barriers to children's participation in learning. For example, if you look at the room that you use for teaching and learning through critical lens, you will find a lot of things that are not really inclusive, or they don't have high expectations for children. So, for example, I used to observe in one service that toddlers were not encouraged to participate in the routines. So a lot of things were done for them by educators. So they were, you can consider it nurturing, but also considered to be mature to, let's say, wipe their face with a face wash or scrape their bowl. While in the other service, it was a good start, non-for-profit service that I worked at, as a relief educator, I remember I watched the room leader of a toddler's room encouraging toddlers to take their shoes and socks off, put them all in their individual bags that had their pictures on, and also help to bring the special mattresses for sleep together in 2 or 3 from the storage room. It was an amazing way to have high expectations for children and believe in their capabilities. It also supported a sense of agency. If a child needs some additional support, this principle also applies to this particular child, whether it's medical health needs or it's about developmental delay and support for their learning. Next one is another new principle. Yay, sustainability. I actually hope that it will be incorporated in the new update, and it was. It's amazing. So sustainable practices quite often are looked at as tokenistic in early childhood education and care services I visited. In some centers, it's taken seriously. So this principle ensures that you consider this principle all the time when you do, no matter what. For example, instead of using single-use items, can you switch to reducing the waste, right? So something that will be used over and over again. Instead of buying products for one occasion, how about you will make those products with children, and this will become also more sustainable practice. It starts with reducing and refusing, right? So you are not buying a lot of things to support curriculum. You only think about necessities, what's needed, but at the same time, you think long term. So educators' role is important in promoting sustainable practices and fostering children understanding and respect for environment. When I was teaching Certificate 3 and Diploma educators, I was always surprised how little they know about what sustainability is. And I was teaching in cultural diverse communities. So it's very important to understand what it is, and that's part of your professional learning. You can think of your next appraisal and whether you know enough about sustainability in practical terms and how to integrate environmental education, nature pedagogies into your curriculum. How do you promote sustainable living practices? Your teaching and learning, does it encourage children to refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and take care of animals and plants and country? So that's a really important principle. I have a special video on sustainability and a lot of ideas on how to incorporate nature and loose parts that are recycled parts into your curriculum. Next principle of the EYLF 2.0 is critical reflection. Of course, we had critical reflection principle before. Now it's expanded to ongoing professional learning as well. So it's not enough to reflect on your practices. Links to critical theories, post-structuralism, reconceptualization theories, and any other teaching theories actually, because reflection can be done through the lens of theory. But if you think about this as important educators' practice, reflection, critical reflection can inspire your teaching throughout the day. Reflection can be done on the go. So for example, if you are setting up the meals and you can see that you don't have enough, let's say, chairs, or you know that this child doesn't go well with this child when they sit together, they are quite noisy and disturbing for others, you can think of strategies to remove the risks, right? And we do reflect as we teach a lot. So this principle encourages us to keep going deeper, and EYLF has a lot of critical questions for us to reflect on practices and improve our teaching and support for each individual child's learning and development. This principle also talks about us as not just glorified babysitters, but educators and professionals. So it highlights the importance of professional growth, adapting practices based on reflection and evidence. Great principle, and it's added. You can read more about it on page 18. I'm just going to show you in the EYLF. So here it is. You can go to page 18 and it's clickable, and read about the questions I mentioned. So these are all the questions that you can copy into your diary and answer during the week as you teach or have a new child. Now, final principle in the new EYLF 2.0 is collaborative leadership and teamwork. It is a great new principle. As a university teacher, I support a leadership unit, and part of this leadership unit and also the other unit about quality early learning, we cover the study of Vaniganayaki, and we also cover the study of Gillian Rodd. So these two researches are important for understanding leadership as a new concept. So leadership typically was considered as someone who is at, I guess, part of the group, but the leader who leads the group. The new approach, collaborative leadership or shared leadership or distributed leadership, encourages people to step up and take a part of leading the service. For example, you might be committed to diversity and supporting inclusion, so you can become a situational leader in this regard. Also, you can have professional accountability for children's learning, well-being, and safety at all times. Some people are better in understanding WHS or work health and safety, health and safety, and other people are great at let's say pedagogical aspects of work. So you can become a leader and you can lead situationally when, let's say, there is evacuation. So it's a really great principle. You can read about it in the EYLF. So I'm just gonna show you where here, and I love how there is a picture of two educators discussing Guide to National Quality Framework. So it talks a lot about how it motivates us to build relationships with each other as well, and it really helps to build a career, because if you go to work where you have people who think with you and who are all committed to work, so you are engaged in your work differently. Yes, so you create this culture of learning. So it really is a great principle. I hope you will learn a lot about this new one. So once again, 8 principles, 8 new principles. Used to be 5, now it's 8. And you can read about them in the EYLF 2.0, but that's a brief introduction. Now, a quick quiz at the end. What is the importance of secure, respectful, and reciprocal relationships in early childhood education according to EYLF 2.0? Choose the correct answer. They will help children to learn to read. They form the foundation of children's well-being and learning. They ensure children complete their homework. They help children become independent quickly. Which one do you think is the correct answer? Post in the comments under this video. If you want to learn more about EYLF, watch this video, EYLF Part 1, on the big ideas of the EYLF, belonging, being, becoming, and EYLF vision. Next challenging question: what are partnerships with families and communities, and why are they essential in the EYLF 2.0? They provide financial support to early childhood settings. They enhance children's learning and well-being through shared decision-making and mutual respect. They offer extracurricular activities for children. They ensure that children have fun. Is it A, B, C, or D? Post your answers under this video. Are you ready to get challenged again? Why is respect for diversity crucial in early childhood settings according to the EYLF 2.0? It helps to create a uniform learning environment. It enriches the learning environment and ensures all children feel valued and respected. It simplifies teaching methods. It focuses solely on language development. Which one is that? A, B, C, or D? Post in the comments under this video. Since we covered sustainability in this video, it's interesting whether you were following along. What does this principle of sustainability entails in the EYLF 2.0? First, it encourages children to focus on academic achievements. It promotes sustainable practices and fostering respect for the environment. It ensures children follow a strict routine, or it provides financial sustainability for early childhood settings. Is it A, B, C, or D? Post in the comments below. And the last question. What is the significance of critical reflection and ongoing professional learning for educators in the EYLF 2.0? 1. It helps educators to develop financial plans for the settings. 2. It allows educators to critically reflect on and improve their practices. It focuses on maintaining discipline in the classroom. 4. It ensures that children achieve high grades. If you know the correct answer, post the correct answer under this video. This was a video overview of the new EYLF 2.0 principles. Want to learn EYLF? Keep an eye on the next video, which will be focusing on the EYLF practices. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.